Hello everyone, Barbara Rankin here with a new chipboard book from Sin City Stamps. Yep, you guessed it, it's a mushroom. And it's a really cute little book. It's going to fit right in with our theme this month of fairies. We are partnering with our good friends over at Altered Pages. And so we will be using not only Sin City products, but we will also be using some of their products from Altered Pages. So I hope you'll stick with me and see how I make this book and put it together. Okay, the first thing I want to do is remove all these little bits and pieces from the book cover, because what I want to do is flip my book over and glue these pieces down to the back. What that will do is give me the look of the front, only in reverse. So what you need to do is simply take the front cover, put it behind the back cover, and flip it over. That will keep everything symmetrical. And then I will take each piece and individually find its proper hole to glue these back down in. So let me go ahead and do a few, and then I'll come back. I won't make you watch me do each and every teeny tiny one, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I have added each a little piece back through my opening. There we go. However, there's one little piece that I missed. It may have fallen out of the bag, and I couldn't find it. So, never fear, I do want it. It's probably not really important, but I'm going to use some hard molding paste, and I'm just going to apply it through the opening. And no, I don't care that it gets on the outside of the book. I'm going to wipe most of it off with my palette knife. And then I'm going to simply remove it because I don't want to glue the book together. And when that dries, we'll probably never know that it's not chipboard. So I'm going to go let it dry, and we'll come back. Okay, I've stamped my images from the Sin City Stamps Anime Fairy 2 collection, and now I'm going to use these oil pastels by Niji. You can buy these through Altered Pages, and I'm going to use these to color my images. I thought I colored one, as you can see. Let me see if I can get a close-up. There we go. And as you can see, I didn't care that I went outside the lines, because I am going to cut this out and then apply it in the book. But while I was coloring these, I thought I should probably show you how I did at least one of these. So let me pick one here. I'll go for this one in the center. So the first thing I want to do, I think the best thing to do is to color the lightest sections. So as you can see, I'm not actually coloring the entire section. I'm just more or less scribbling, if you will. So I'm going to do her flesh first. I've taken a product called Liquin. This is by Winsor & Newton. And my bottle is practically solidified. It's so old. So I had to take a craft knife to it and try and dig what I could out of it. But it does liquefy and help blend the oil pastels. So let me go ahead. I'm using just a pointed tip Q-tip here. One end is pointed and the other is kind of flat and rounded. So I'm going to use the pointy section here, and you can see how this is going to just blend that oil pastel so nicely, and very, very forgiving product. Extremely fun to use. I think you'll see how easy this is as you watch. And you can go back, do a little more shading, I'll take a little bit more of that flesh color and give her a little bit more dark in some areas where it would be the darkest. Come back with my liquid soaked Q-tip and blend that out a little bit more. All right. How about a little bit of blush on her cheeks there, and a little bit for her lips. All right. Using the same one, I'm just going to blend that out, kind of feather it a tad bit, and get those lips fixed a little bit better. There we go. Nice. Okay. Next I'm going to do her, I think I'll do her dress. Again, I'll use the blues and the greens. So there's not a lot of her dress here. Again, I'm going to be cutting this out, so I don't care if I go outside the lines. Matter of fact, it usually helps to do that. And let me get a different. I'm going to go ahead and spread that blue color here. Try not to get any on her skin. Come back and put a little bit darker blue in there. Just a little bit. I'll come back and give that a little blending. And I'll put a little bit of green in that little top portion of her dress. Come back and kind of blend that out. And there you have her dress. Now I'm going to use the brown for her hair. I just sort of tend to follow the direction. If this were wood, I would call it grain, but I follow the direction of her hair, just in case I get any parts that don't feel like blending as well, although I haven't had that problem yet. Like I said, I don't care that I'm going out of the lines. I am going to cut this out. And I'll come back, and this time I'm using the, I'm continuing to use the Q-tip that I used for her flesh. I think I can get a little more liquid. Get some out of this. I'll get some out of this bottle. You don't need a lot, but you want some on there. My Q-tip has gotten a little bit dry. You can see how much nicer it's blending now that I've added some more liquid to this. You just get such a nice coloration with it. And I really, really like how that blends. Now you can just kind of move it along. Very fun product to use. And I can come back with that same brown blending stick and get a few more, add a few more details, some shading. nothing precise, just whatever you like. And when I blend this out, it won't blend as much. Just keeps adding to the look. See how that? And then it's going to always be darker down under here, so let's give her a, oop, take that clean end of my thing there and clean that off a little bit. There we go. Maybe a little bit more detail up here and down the back. Here we go. Very nice. Now for a wing, isn't she pretty? This stamp set is going to be so fun to color. And there you have it. Now what I plan to do ultimately is add some glitter to those wings. Don't you think all fairy wings should be glittered? I sure do. Okay, I'm going to go off camera now and I'll finish coloring all of these images, and I'll use the oil pastels, and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back and I've finished coloring all of my images. I've even glittered the wings. Aren't they pretty? I'm not sure if you can see there. You can see some of the glitter on the wings. Now I stamped these on 140-pound hot press watercolor paper, and I stamped it with black StazOn ink. And then, of course, like I said, I colored them with the Niji oil pastels and blended them with liquid. So moving on, my glue pieces have dried and my molding paste has dried. So now what I want to do is put a coat of gesso on both of these, and then I'll come back. Okay, both pieces have been gessoed, and I'm going to set them aside to dry. Once dry, I will flip them over and do the same thing. You're probably asking, why do I gesso the chipboard? The reason is because the chipboard is very porous and it will just suck up any paint medium that you put on it. The gesso gives it a nice base for your paint or any other medium to grab to. So it's always a good idea to do that before you proceed any further. Okay, I'm back and I've got my covers, and what I want to do now is paint the covers with acrylic paint. I am not a toll painter or any kind of acrylic painting artist, so I'm going to give it my best shot. But what I will do is I will fast forward the video so you don't have to watch every agonizing second. So here we go. Okay, I'm back now, and what I want to do is I painted, let me show you what I've done here. Painted the cover. This is the front of the cover and the inside of the cover. And then this is going to be the back. This will be on the outside. And what I'm going to do is cover the inside back. So I've left that. I don't care that it's all painty and messed up, because I'm going to put a piece of paper over this and cover it all up. What I want to show you now is how to cover a chipboard page with paper. And what I've done is I have chosen from Prima's Pixie Glen collection. It's an 8x8 paper pad. It's an older collection. I'm not even sure you can get it, but since I had it in my stash, I thought pixies, fairies, it's all kind of goes together. So I've decided that for my first page, that's going to go behind the cover. Now remember, the cover has these openings in it. So what you want to do is select what paper you may want to show through, and that's why I've chosen this one. And what I did was, after I chose my pieces of paper, I ran each one of them through my Xyron machine, and it's very, very quick and easy when you do that. I have a Teflon bone folder, which I know not everyone has, but if you have one, I highly recommend them. If you don't have one, I highly recommend them. But one of the best things to do when you run your paper through the Xyron is to burnish that adhesive down to your paper, so that it gets all that sticky goodness onto the paper. And then what I like to do is flip it over and run my bone folder around the edges, because that also gets rid of that sticky goo you sometimes find is left around the edges. Then when you pull this clear plastic release paper off, you won't have all this goo left. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my cover, or actually this is my first page, my first inside page. Now remember, this is going to go behind the front cover that has the opening, so make sure that your holes line up. And that's the way it will line up. So this is the side I'm going to cover. So what I do is I will peel this off of the release paper, turn it over, make sure I've got the direction going properly, and then this is the cover, this is the side I want to cover, so I've got to flip it over, and I can lay this down, and I can get as close to one edge if I want to save a little paper. I can get as close to that edge as I possibly can, lay it down, burnish it real good on there with my bone folder, and then I can come back after I get it unstuck from my mat. Boy, that's some good adhesive. And then I've got a craft knife, and all I do now is simply trim it out. And it's just that simple. Save that release paper if you want to save any of your scraps, because you can put these back down on it. Okay, once again, I'm going to lay that on there. Let's not waste that. I might want some of that part of the paper. I see I've got a little bit of trimming to do. And there you have it. I can now take a piece of sandpaper and trim up the edges and get a nice smooth edge on there before I continue. And always, always, always don't forget to punch a hole in your paper before you cover the other side, otherwise you won't be able to find your hole. And that's it. It's as easy as that. I'm going to go ahead and cover each of my chipboard pages, including this inside back page, and I will come back. Okay, I've decided that I want to put something in the center of these on my page that's going to show through. So I've decided that what I want to do is try these this Viva Decor Pearl Paint Pen. I've got one in pearl and I've got this one that's a salmon color. I think I'm going to try the salmon color first. So what I want to do, so I know where to mark, I have this pen from Kuretake that is an erasable pen. So let's see if this will work. I'm just going to make my marks through here, each of the little mushroom holes. And that will mark the placement where I wish to add the paint pen. Now, I don't think you can see it. Let me see. No, it's very, very faint. Trust me when I say I can see it. And it's there just long enough to work on, and then I should be able to erase it. So I'm just going to make little dots. And the fun thing is, if you make a boo-boo, if you get it right away, you can pick it up. And then what should happen is all of these pretty little dots will show through each of the mushroom holes. So I'm going to finish this off and I'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so let's do a little stamping. I'm going to take this cute little fairy from the Fairies 2 stamp plate, and I'm going to ink it up with some black StazOn ink. And what I want to do is put her right about here where she actually will not show through the front, any openings on the front of the book. Let's see how that comes out. Okay, I probably should have laid this flatter for my stamping, but I can go back with an ink pen and fill in anything that got missed. Just like that. And I kind of like to do a little dotting motion. I'm using my Faber-Castell black tip pen. It's a big brush pen, and it's a really nice pen. I actually used it to edge the entire book, the chipboard pieces, before I came back and used the distress inks around the edges. For some reason, distress inks don't really soak into the chipboard as well, especially if it's got any bit of glue on it from gluing your pages down. And there. Let's let that dry for a second, and then I'll show you a close-up. How's that? Some of the dots are there because it hasn't completely dried yet, but you'll see it as it's starting to disappear as it soaks in. Isn't that pretty? Now I might come back, I'll probably come back and color those wings a little bit just for fun. And ultimately at the end I will show you the entire book. Okay, another stamp from that same Fairies 2 set is just the word magic, and I thought I would stamp that with my Spiced Chai StazOn ink. Because there's a lot of brown on this paper, I'm going to stamp it right about here because, make sure I got it going the right way, because the mushroom is still going to, there's no openings here either, so that's not going to interfere. I'll just stamp it right there. Voila. How pretty. Isn't that nice? It'd be fun to color that in with something glittery. Okay. Okay, I'm back. And here's another product from Sin City that I think you're going to love. They have these wonderful die cuts, and they have all sorts of selection that goes with the fairy theme or any kind of nature theme. Aren't these adorable and so delicate? And different sized fairies. There's a bigger one in the set. And of course you can turn them either way. Color them any way you wish. Leave them as a silhouette. Stamp on them. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and color these and add them to my page here. I've chosen this Memento Luxe ink pads, and I'm going to just kind of ink up the bottoms here. I don't really care if I get ink on the mushroom heads because I'm going to come back with a bit darker color, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. These inks are really nice. They say they're for mixed media, but you can blend with them, and they do dry, unlike a pigment ink. And so this is peanut brittle. I'm going to do both of these before I go to another color here. Let me just get this done very quickly. And then I will come back. Now I'm going to try a little bit of rhubarb stalk. That's a pretty color. See if I can't get a little bit of, and I can come back and kind of blend these together. Oh, that's so pretty. So pretty. I think I like the blending that I'm getting with it. Very, very much. Yeah. I'm going to have to sneak in there and get that little one there. Try not to get too much on the stems. Come back and just kind of, oh yeah, oh yeah. See how easy that is? And fun, fun, fun. I love coloring. I love coloring when it's easy. And so I'm just going to keep going with that. Oh, I used the wrong side. Oh well. Let's pull out some more of my peanut brittle in another section here and just kind of, you know. And then, oh, how pretty. Oh, I'm so loving this. Okay. Close those ink pads up and see if I can't give you a close-up of those. Isn't that pretty? Soft, delicate. I'm thinking something like so. This just shows you how you can work in the die cuts with your collage sheets. Now, I think I'm going to color my little fairy with some pistachio. This is also Memento Luxe. I just feel like a garden theme. And these colors are going so beautifully with the papers here. Okay. There she is. And then what I plan to do, I'm going to glue these down, and she's going to be standing right on top of that mushroom. What do you think? Let me see if I can hold this up so you can see it without them falling off, because they aren't glued down. Isn't that pretty? Okay. I'll glue these down and be right back. Okay, I've glued my mushrooms and my fairy down. And now I want to show you these pretty little die cuts, little flowers from Sin City. And I'm going to color these. This time I'm going to use these new Radiant Neon ink colors. And these are a pigment ink, so they will blend, but they do dry on a porous surface eventually. So let me see if I can't find a clean spot here. Let's try the pink first. I'm just going to color it the same way I did the mushrooms and the fairy. Just sponge the colors on. And it's funny, but you would think, oh my gosh, if you're not a very bright color person like me, I mean, I prefer more pastels, I would definitely have walked away from these neon ink pads, but I have to tell you, they are really fantastic. I mean, look at that. Can you see the color, how pretty the color is? It doesn't look neon at all. You can get it neon if you just keep layering and layering and layering. But if you stop early, it makes the most beautiful colors. So let me do the same with this big one. We're just going to make one big beautiful flower here. And I love the color variations that I can achieve. If you think that the backside's going to show because it is a 3D object, you can always turn it over and do the back. And in this case, this one might actually show at some point. So let's just be safe. I'm just going to do, I know the center's not going to show, but it might be the flower petals that might stick up, and or somebody might like to pick it up and see what's underneath there. So let's just see if we can't get a little color under here just in case. Not always necessary, but you know, you've got that option. And then if I want to give it a little more color, I've got this blue, and I'm not even going to change my pad here, but you see I can get a little bit of purple coloration in there just by adding the blue, because blue and red would make purple, as does blue and pink. But I can give it a little bit of depth that way, make it kind of darker in the center, leave those outer parts light. Then let's have a bit of fun and see what the green does. The green might... Okay, I'm just going to give it just a little bit of green hint. It's kind of pretty. I love mixing all my colors up. I'll do it on the little one as well. I'm just doing the outer edges at this point for the just a little bit of green being sponged on. Not very much. It's very, very faint. If you hadn't seen me do it, you might not know exactly what I had done there. Okay. So now I'm going to, I've got this, it's a fuzzy brown brad. Looks like I bought them because it looks like the center of a flower. And just offset these little guys here. Take my finger, and this is where I was thinking you might actually see the underside where you kind of bend these up. Just go around and bend it up. Give it a little dimension. There. There. What do you think? Pretty, huh? You'd never know I used neon inks for that, would you? Now before I glue that down, here's another die cut from Sin City Stamps. This one is one of their new flourishes, and it's a real pale pink. And you could color this again if you want, but I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. And just decide what I want to show. Cut it. I'm going to cut whatever I want off. I'm thinking somewhere in that vicinity. So I would cut it down underneath that. Let's see. I'm thinking I don't need, and goodness sakes, don't throw these away, because they do make, you can still continue to use this. Let's see, I think I'll cut it right about there. Let's see here. Okay. So all I'm really going to use is that portion there, and just line it up, and then put my flower there, and arrange it the way I want, and there you have it. I'll glue that all down. Beautiful. Okay, I'll glue it all down and come back. Okay, everyone, I'm back, and I have finished embellishing and decorating the book, and I've put it together. As you can see, I used a binding ring, and so let me go through it and show you what I've done. This is a stamp from the Fairies 2 set. I says, I believe in fairies. I embossed it in gold. And there's a close-up. I also used a pearl pen to make all the little dots inside those openings. I think it really adds a cute touch to that. I used some German paper scrap from Altered Pages, and these are collage images that I fussy cut out and added to it. Let me see if I can get a close-up of that. It looks to me like the little fairy out there is just waiting to get inside and see what's going on. So let's us see what's going on. Okay, I open the book, and as you can see, here is the inside cover. It's done exactly the same. I did use crackle paint on that bottom section, and you can see, perhaps not. There we go. I think maybe you can see it. You can see the shine anyway. I used crackle paint on the bottom of the mushroom and put a little stain on it, and I think that really added to it. Now my first page is what was showing through, except for I did stamp this little fairy, colored her wings. I used Wink of Stella clear pen to give it a little bit of glitter. I cut a scrap of the paper from the Prima collection to fit beneath the opening of the door and the window. Let me close that back up and you'll see. And I also stamped Magic from the Fairies 2 collection. And when I close the book back up, you'll see that the only things that show through the openings are the pearl pen dots and the variation in the paper. Okay. Now on to page 3. Here I have fussy cut again a collage image from Altered Pages. I have listed these on the blog of, the supplies that I used. So you can get that information there. What I also want to show you is the cute little die cuts. These are from Sin City Stamps also. The mushrooms that I layered, I colored them with the ink pads, layered them on. I also colored the little fairy with the ink pad. When I made the flower, I did the same thing. I used the ink pads and colored it. layered it. There's 2 flowers here. Layered it, offset it, used a fuzzy brown brad to put it together, and a couple of leaves to embellish it. Beneath here is another die cut from Sin City. It's a flourish, and it was much bigger than this, but the fun thing about flourishes, if you haven't already learned this by now, which I'm sure you have, you can cut them to size, and you can cut pieces off that don't actually fit in the area you're trying to use, which is what I did. So, but I never throw those away because they will come in handy on another project. But I did cut some of it off because I didn't feel like wasting it, and it was just going to get lost under the flower. So on to the next page. This page is, again, collage images that I fussy cut out from Altered Pages. Again, a die cut from Sin City that I added a little bit of ink to make everything match a little better. Another set of mushrooms that I colored a little bit differently. And in order to bring a little bit of green down in here, I took my oil pastels from Altered Pages and added a little bit of green under the mushroom. And I'll see if I can get a little bit of a close-up there. And then I also added, these are stars, little metal star stickers from my stash, and little flowers and a fancy brad. And then let's move on to the next page. Oh, by the way, this particular page is just, it's not chipboard. I made one more page. I had so many things I wanted to put in here. I made one more page, and since this particular collection didn't have double-sided paper, I ran it through my Xyron and put two different paper pieces together, and it gave it a lot of strength, and so it almost feels like a piece of chipboard. So let's move on to the next page. Again, I used I fussy cut 2 collage images from Altered Pages, their fairy collection. Again, here's bits and pieces of another flourish from from Sin City Stamps. This was a fleur-de-lis a die cut from Sin City Stamps. I believe my good friend Pam Bray designed this. It's just one of many in her line, fleur-de-lis, and it goes with her fleur-de-lis chipboard book. And all I did was I used Delicata Gold ink to ink it up, and it gave it that beautiful, luxurious look. This is just a sticker from my stash that I just put over it. I thought she should be standing in a garden of flowers. And so let me see if I can get a close-up of that. Okay. Moving on to the next page. Again, I have this whole page here is totally Sin City Stamps. I used, this is a stamp, and this is a stamp that I colored. This was from the Fairy collection too. This is also from a different Fairy set that it is listed in the supply list on the blog. It's a beautiful little saying. I think it was perfect for this book. The little butterfly here came in the Fairy stamp set, and this butterfly actually was in a different butterfly for the Love of Butterflies stamp set that Sin City Stamps sells. Another fun collection, and I've gotten so much use out of butterflies. I use them all the time. And so all I did on this piece here was I just stamped it in StazOn Spiced Chai, which is a brown color, and I just stamped it on a scrap of the print paper, cut it out, and inked the edges. Again, with this mushroom die cut is a little bit larger than the others. They were all different sizes, and I just inked it up a little bit differently to match this particular page, and glued it down. And I don't know if you can tell, but I I never fussy cut the antenna on my butterflies, but I do have, in my stash, I just have a real thin wire that I like to use to, and I'm not sure I can get a close-up. There you go. I think you can see that. The little wires coming that he used for the antenna and on the little orange butterfly. And of course I glittered, like I said, I glittered their wings. I think all fairies should have glittered wings. What do you think? Okay. The next page is a combination of Sin City stamps. Again, this was stamped and colored with the oil pastels, as I showed you earlier in the video. Another flourish that I inked and cut up to make it fit the way I wanted to on this page. This is a fun little saying here that I stamped from another set in the Sin City Stamps line. And this particular piece here is another fussy cut collage sheet image from Altered Pages. And I had a few more of these little metal stars left, and I thought, well, let's just use them. And here's a close-up of those images. Oh, and the flowers are just some from my stash. Actually, they're Petaloo. I think Altered Pages is carrying those now. Really fine, pretty flowers. I'll go to the next page. Again, I have these two stamps are both from Sin City Stamps. They're also in the same stamp line. Stamped in black StazOn, colored with the oil pastels, as shown earlier. This particular stamp is also in the same collection. I just stamped it onto another scrap of paper from the print paper from the line, and trimmed it out, and then punched the corners to make it look like a ticket, and added a little bit of bling from my stash, and also glittered her wings. I put a little bit of glitter on the wings of the dragon too. I think a fairy's dragon ought to have glittered wings. What do you think? And so, let me see if I can get a close-up of these. Okay, and of course flowers and bling. All good fairies' mushroom homes should have flowers and bling. And then this is the back side again. This is the one that I had removed the bits and pieces from the cover and added them to the back to give me the back of the house, and basically done the same or similar as the front. I think this one you're going to see the crackle a little bit better because the ink went all down in there. But I think it's a really fun look for the mushroom. Mushrooms have that, they have that creamy base, but they also have a dirty look to them. So I thought it was perfect. And then of course the little blue door. And there you have it. There's my book, my mushroom book from Sin City Stamps. Thank you so much to our sponsor, our co-sponsor this month, partner Altered Pages. And I would love it if you would hit the like button if you like my video, and please be sure to visit Sin City Stamps and Altered Pages and check out the line. Both companies, the products work well together, as you can see, and I hope you enjoyed my project. Thanks for stopping by today, and have a great week. Thanks again.